Big-name retailers like CVS, Macy's, and Walgreens once seemed untouchable, but that era may be over. Across the country, shelves are emptying, prices are skyrocketing, and store closures are accelerating. Once dominant chains are now fighting to survive, teetering on the edge of collapse. Imagine showing up to your go-to store, only to find it shuttered for good. It's not a fluke, it's part of a much larger trend reshaping the retail landscape. If you're not watching closely, you could be caught off guard. Here's a look at the top 10 U.S. retail giants that may soon vanish, and why the crisis is escalating. Number 10. McDonald's, a golden giant losing its shine. Once the undisputed king of fast food, McDonald's stood for convenience, speed, and affordability. But today, that legacy is starting to fade. Across the U.S., the chain is quietly closing stores, especially in working-class neighborhoods that were once its strongest base. Why? Because many of its loyal customers simply can't afford it anymore. The price of a Big Mac combo meal has surged to an average of $13, a nearly 40% jump since 2019. For a family of four, that's over $50 per visit, roughly a full day's after-tax wages for a minimum wage worker. What was once a budget-friendly go-to meal is now a pricey outing. And it's not just about prices. A 2025 consumer survey revealed that 65% of Americans have cut back on McDonald's visits, not out of preference, but necessity. Inflation has pushed people back to their kitchens and toward cheaper alternatives. Meanwhile, rising crime rates and labor shortages are forcing more McDonald's locations in major cities like Los Angeles and New York to reduce hours, or close altogether. The company's pivot to automation isn't helping either. Replacing staff with kiosks may cut costs, but it's also stripping away the personal touch. For older patrons and families with young children, the once welcoming golden arches now feel cold and impersonal. Number 9. Costco. Costco has long been seen as retail's fortress. Giant stores, massive crowds, and deep discounts. But beneath the surface, the retail giant is quietly facing challenges that could reshape its future. Yes, Costco pulled in over $240 billion in revenue in 2024, but it relies on two fragile pillars: massive volume and paid memberships. With fees at $60 for a basic membership and over $120 for executive access, many shoppers are starting to ask if it's still worth it. A 2025 survey found that nearly 25% of U.S. members had either canceled or let their memberships lapse due to financial strain. At the same time, younger generations, especially Gen Z and millennials, are turning to online shopping, delivery services, and smaller stores that don't require fees or bulk buying. Costco's enormous warehouses no longer suit modern urban lifestyles, where space is tight and cars are optional. Rising supply chain costs, inflation, and a thin 2.5% profit margin are making Costco's model harder to sustain. And while competitors have fully embraced e-commerce, Costco has lagged behind. Delivery through Instacart often comes with higher prices and slow service, making the experience less appealing. Costco isn't in freefall, but the slow fade is real. Without a major pivot, it risks becoming a relic of a bygone retail era, just when Americans need affordable options the most. Number 8. Walgreens. Once a staple of American street corners, open 24/7, brightly lit, and fully staffed, Walgreens is now a shadow of its former self. More and more locations are posting signs that read "permanently closed" or showing drastic cuts to operating hours. This isn't just a handful of stores, it's part of a major nationwide downsizing. By the end of 2024, Walgreens had shut down over 700 locations across the U.S., with closures heavily concentrated in California, Oregon, New York, and Illinois. States struggling with rising costs, public safety concerns, and rampant petty theft. Even more alarming, Walgreens reported nearly $6 billion in net losses for the fiscal year, the worst financial performance in its 120-year history. The company has responded by slashing 10% of its corporate staff and offloading investments in pharmaceutical ventures. But the problem runs deeper. Walgreens is caught in the middle of two mounting crises: changing consumer habits and a growing shortage of pharmacy staff. More customers are turning to online services or integrated clinics where they can consult a doctor and pick up medications in one trip. Meanwhile, stores are increasingly short-staffed, especially when it comes to pharmacists. Long lines, burned-out employees, and frustrated customers are now common scenes. Nationwide pharmacist strikes in 2023 and 2024 only worsened the situation, damaging public trust. What's most devastating is the impact on low-income urban and rural communities. Many of the shuttered stores were the only local sources of essential medications, vaccines, and basic health care. For these communities, the loss of Walgreens is more than an inconvenience. It's a blow to healthcare access. With over 8,600 locations still operating, Walgreens isn't disappearing overnight. But the signs are clear. The cracks are widening in America's retail pharmacy system. Number 7, CVS. CVS, another retail giant and Walgreens' top competitor, is also in serious trouble. Once a fixture in neighborhoods across the country, CVS is now facing its biggest challenge yet: the digital revolution in healthcare. While it remains the largest pharmacy chain in the U.S., CVS is struggling to adapt to a world where customers no longer need to step inside a store. Online ordering, telehealth services, and home delivery are rewriting the rules. Nearly 40% of Americans now purchase medication online, a major blow to CVS's traditional business model. Big tech players like Amazon have entered the pharmacy space, offering faster, cheaper, and more convenient options. Meanwhile, CVS is weighed down by high operating costs, rising wages, and a bloated physical footprint. Foot traffic is down, but expenses keep climbing. Can CVS evolve quickly enough to stay relevant? Or is it already on the path to becoming the next casualty of a retail sector in crisis? Number 6, Macy's. For generations, Macy's was synonymous with American retail tradition. Its flagship stores were landmarks, its Thanksgiving Day parade a cherished holiday staple. But behind the festive storefronts and nostalgic ads lies a brutal reality. Macy's is in serious trouble. Over the past year, Macy's has seen its revenue fall by more than 5%, and the downturn shows no signs of slowing. Malls are emptier, customers are shopping online, and Macy's is stuck in a model that no longer fits the times. Store closures are mounting, and the company is burdened by the high cost of maintaining its physical footprint and workforce. More than just a financial crisis, Macy's is grappling with a failure to adapt. While Amazon and Walmart dominate online retail, Macy's has struggled to carve out a space in the digital marketplace. The brand that once defined American shopping is now at risk of becoming a cautionary tale unless it can rapidly reinvent itself. 5. Nordstrom, luxury losing its luster. Nordstrom, once the gold standard for high-end shopping in the U.S., is facing an identity crisis. Once known for personalized service and polished storefronts, the chain is now seeing a steady decline masked by quiet store closures and shrinking profits. In Q4 2024, Nordstrom reported a staggering 41% drop in revenue and its lowest profit margins in over a decade. Nordstrom Rack, meant to appeal to value-focused shoppers, missed its targets as well. The chain is stuck between two models, luxury and discount, neither of which is thriving in today's fast-paced, price-sensitive retail world. Consumers are no longer willing to spend an afternoon browsing through racks in a mall. They're shopping from their phones, expecting instant gratification and low prices, an area where Nordstrom still lags far behind competitors like Amazon, Target, and even fast fashion disruptors like Shein. In 2024 alone, Nordstrom shut down more than 15 full-line stores, including iconic locations in cities like San Francisco and Portland. Once bustling storefronts now sit empty, foot traffic has vanished and deep discounts hint at deeper troubles. As these two giants falter, the message is clear: no brand is too big to fail. The future of traditional retail is being rewritten, and fast. Number 4. Rite Aid, a pharmacy giant in freefall. Rite Aid, once the third largest pharmacy chain in the United States, has become a symbol of quiet disaster. At its peak, the company operated over 4,600 stores nationwide. But as of early 2025, fewer than 1,700 remain. In October 2023, Rite Aid filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, rocked by more than $3 billion in debt and thousands of layoffs. At the heart of Rite Aid's downfall is its role in the opioid epidemic. Federal prosecutors allege the company ignored red flags and illegally dispensed highly addictive painkillers, contributing to a crisis claiming over 100,000 lives annually. Massive legal settlements followed, draining the company's already fragile finances. Yet legal issues are only part of the story. Rite Aid failed to adapt to a changing retail and healthcare landscape. While competitors like CVS moved into digital health and Walgreens built in-store clinics, Rite Aid clung to outdated models. In an era of home prescription delivery and online access, it simply couldn't keep up. Now, many rural and suburban communities are left without a local pharmacy. For elderly residents or those without transportation, the nearest medicine may be dozens of miles away, a dangerous gap in America's healthcare safety net. 3. Dollar General. For years, Dollar General was the go-to store for rural and low-income Americans. With over 19,000 locations, more than Starbucks, McDonald's, and Walmart combined, it offered affordable essentials where few other options existed. But in 2023, the company hit a wall. Its stock dropped over 50%. The CEO resigned, and complaints about theft, violence, and dangerous working conditions surged. OSHA fined Dollar General a record $21 million for workplace safety violations. Reports of blocked exits, untrained staff, and unsafe conditions painted a grim picture. The company's rapid growth strategy backfired. Stores opened faster than they could be managed. Many are now understaffed, poorly stocked, and falling apart. Once a symbol of stability, Dollar General is now losing the trust of the very communities it was built to serve. As both chains falter, the consequences extend far beyond empty shelves. These aren't just retail failures, they're signs of a system straining under pressure. And for millions of Americans, that strain is starting to show. 2. Best Buy. Not long ago, Best Buy was the destination for tech lovers. It was where families tested out the newest TVs, gamers tried the latest consoles, and students compared laptops side by side. Walking into a Best Buy felt like stepping into the future. But ask someone today when they last walked into one, and you'll probably get silence. Foot traffic has plummeted. In fiscal year 2023, sales dropped by more than 10%, and profits fell a shocking 32%. The once bustling stores are now quieter, their bright displays seen by fewer eyes each year. The COVID-19 pandemic didn't just disrupt routines, it permanently reshaped how Americans shop. Consumers now browse online, compare prices with a tap, and read thousands of reviews before making a purchase. And while Best Buy clings to its physical stores, Amazon ships directly to customers' doors, faster, cheaper, and with endless options. The shift isn't just about convenience. The tech market itself is slowing. People are no longer upgrading TVs and laptops as often. Smartphones have hit a saturation point. Many users are holding on to their devices for years. For Best Buy, that's a disaster. The core products that once made them a go-to are now harder to move off shelves. In response, the company has begun quietly shrinking, closing stores in places like California, Illinois, and New York. The ones that remain are often shadows of their former selves. But the bigger issue is existential. Best Buy's entire model, hands-on tech shopping, may be fading into obsolescence. Today's generation, raised on TikTok and Amazon Prime, often values speed and price over the in-store experience. And with that shift, thousands of retail jobs and entire community ecosystems hang in the balance. This isn't just about one company. It's about whether traditional retail can survive in a world that increasingly doesn't want or need it. Number 1. Save Mart. Now picture a quiet Saturday morning in rural California. A family drives to their local Save Mart for groceries, only to find the parking lot empty and a for lease sign taped to the window. For many communities, this isn't just inconvenient, it's devastating. Save Mart has been a staple in California and parts of Nevada for over 70 years, serving middle-class and working-class families where bigger chains never dared to go. But now even that legacy isn't enough. In 2023, the Save Mart companies sold the chain to a private equity firm. What followed was swift and brutal. Job cuts, location closures, pricing overhauls. Instead of helping, these changes drove longtime customers away toward cheaper chains or online alternatives. The challenge is massive. Save Mart is too small to compete with Walmart's pricing and too outdated to match Amazon's convenience. Rising wages and inflation have only made things worse, squeezing already thin margins. Internal figures show an 18% drop in revenue per store over just 2 years. The consequences are especially grim for small towns. In dozens of areas, Save Mart is the only grocery store for miles. If it closes, residents must drive 10 miles or more for basic food and supplies. Seniors, low-income families, and those without transportation may simply go without. So the real question becomes, are we quietly letting mid-sized, community-rooted chains die off? And if we are, who bears the cost? Because for millions, losing a store like Save Mart or Best Buy isn't about inconvenience. It's about losing access to jobs, to essential goods, to community.